Uh, Yo, what's good, everybody? It's your boy Jamie K, the new
Yeah.
Negro, Jamie Justice, whatever, the seventh day Muslim. I don't care what you call me. I'm here and I'm back with my boy McDonald,
What
and
up? What
we're
up? What
going
up?
to talk about, just everything, man, everything that we feel like we need to. As you
Yeah,
know, the title of the show is two. Last week we called it Two Dope Dudes. This week we're calling it Two Really Dope Dudes.
that's right.
And I'm just super hyped, man. What's up with you, dude?
Man, I'm good, man. Just excited that it's a new, going into a new week. A lot of stuff happening, but just glad that, we're safe, our families are safe, everyone's thriving. And so, yeah, man, I'm
Yeah,
excited.
man. Yeah, facts, man. Because I read an article this week. Matter of fact, it was yesterday about how COVID, and I think we were talking about this about how COVID is if they release the numbers by race,
Right.
coronavirus is killing our people at alarming numbers. But
Yeah.
we're not going to talk about that on the TV. But on top of all the stuff that Black people got to deal with, and then coronavirus hitting us, man, it's a deadly concoction.
Yeah. Funny thing is that we were saying that we were exempt and we weren't necessarily the ones getting hit by it. But yeah, it's a reality check, man. And I think we need to reevaluate a lot. I think this is a time to really do a lot of self-reflection. So the hope is that, when we all come out of this, that we're better for it, not just the same kind of things that we were into. We got to do a whole lot better than we used to, man, for sure.
Yeah, facts, man. Especially for our kids, we want to be here, leave a legacy. But
For
yo,
real.
man, yeah, man. So, dude, man, last week, yo, you had the internet going nuts. People hit me up after too, man, about you, saying Tupac was overrated. You're not feeling him. People hit me up where they were like, "Yo, I can't believe you said you did not like Regulators." Like, and I don't care what nobody says. I still don't like that song. Now, if you play it, I might listen to it, but I ain't rocking with that joint.
I won't front. I mean, I listened to a few Pac albums, and I mean, I actually like a few of his albums. I think my issue, and maybe I misstated it, it's not that I don't like him, it's that I don't think that he's as good as everybody says that he is. I think that he has some dope, content, but as far as, you know, earth-shattering lyrics or anything like that, like you can't put him in the same bracket as greats from the standpoint of lyrics and
Right.
flow and all that. But from the standpoint of content, I think he shed light on a lot of subject that probably needed to be talked about around that time. But as far as being like in the top five, my top five as far as MCs, nah.
Right. I feel you. I'm on the same page too, man. I don't think he was like the dopest lyricist. I think he did have songs with some heavy content in it. Like my
Yeah.
favorite pop song is Changes.
Mhm.
Just like, just the various things. I applaud him for Brenda's Got a Baby
Yeah.
and for the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice, and those things like that. But was he like a top lyricist? In the ranks of Biggie, Jay-Z, Nas, of those in that class, I don't think I'd put him in there. But as far as when you refer to as making an impact
Right.
on society, then he definitely has to be there in that group.
I think more than anything, I think I've just been disappointed with the contradiction. Like he was just a walking, I don't know, what's the word? Walking contradiction. Yeah, he on some level, I guess I understand the inner man conflicted and having various views about certain things, but I just think that I've just always been attracted to people that have been consistent as far as their messaging, and sometimes he's all over the place. So I guess that's true for a lot of rappers too, but I think because we're talking about who should be in the conversation and who should not be in the conversation as far as dope MCs, then that's where I'm conflicted. So
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm probably going to get roasted after this, but it is what it is.
Yeah, your Instagram about to be lit up because you name up there, so they're gonna come and get you. So, McDonald, man. So this is my question, right?
Right.
And so I got something right here. Matter of fact, let me show it to you.
Okay.
And this is a conflict that I've been having. and it is these, man. So I have a still with the tags on it.
Wow.
Icy. I could link the bottom, but coronavirus out there, right? And so my question is this, man. It's like, can I be woke and still wear these? You know, and you were talking about contradictions.
Right.
If I put these on, but I know I'm throwing the question at you, but we got two people that's gonna join us on this this show, and I think they want to weigh in on it as well, man. So what, you want to bring them in now?
Let's bring them out.
All right, man, bring them out. Yeah. So hailing all the way from Atlanta, Georgia, is my guy. Looks like he walks out of a GQ magazine every morning. You can't get it. My guy, Dr. Pontificator Wesley Knight. What's good, bro?
What's good, man? Hey, listen, I should have an ATL hat on, but you know, I'm just doing KC. You know, I'm just doing KC tonight. They don't have a lot of rappers tonight. They're underrepresented in the hip hop community, so I'm repping KC tonight.
Right, he's a man of the people, man. He's a voice of the voiceless, and not just Wesley Knight. We got my dude, GQ himself, Mr. Jordaan Martin, who is going to be kicking it with us. So, yo, Jay, it's good to have you on, man.
Yo, man, appreciate being on the show, yo. I'm super hyped.
All right, cool. And just let the audience know, man, if you got comments or you got things you want to share, please type it to us because we're going to be addressing some of your comments. So man, that's my dilemma. Can you be woke and still wear Yeezys as an African American in light of the recent things that Mr. West has been broadcasting to the public?
Who want to jump in cold in first?
Who's gonna help me, man? I need help.
What's our working definition of being woke?
Man, I mean, okay, so I'd say woke as conscious, someone who is aware of the times, and also who is not just aware of the times, but living in accordance to what's actually happening. And that means that you are, you know, that somebody who's just like not willing to be swayed by everything that's going on, but true to their people and true to their calling, and that they're not like, you know, easily swoon to go along with the crowd. And so those are, I mean, that's just off the top of my head definition that I have of woke. And so, I mean, go ahead, Wes. I feel like you want to jump in.
I mean, if that's the case, I think, so the next question that has to come that we have to ask is, can you separate a person's message from a product that they put out? That's really what we're asking, right? Basically. So his political message, I don't think any one of us on here agree with, and we could spend a lot of time dissecting that. But his business deal to produce this product, I don't know. I think there's a possibility to separate the message from the product. I'm not a Yeezy, like, I don't like the shoes that much. I mean, quite frankly, but I'm trying to think of other people who have put out products that I didn't agree particularly with their message or their lifestyle. And did that stop me from buying their stuff? What I would say is, we know his message, his ideology hurts Black people because it influences or could influence policy, which hurts our people. But I think the question is, do you then hold him accountable by not supporting the product?
Right. Like, okay, so is me buying a pair of Yeezys, does that support his agenda? Which I totally disagree with, which I'm sure some people may have a conflict with. You know, how do we separate art from expression? I guess that's that's another question that we have to ask, you know. So, I mean, y'all can take a stab at it, man. How do you feel, man, if you you saw somebody who was like straight up all day, man, and then they bust out in a pair of Yeezys? Are you going to judge them and say that they're not woke enough because they're supporting the man who basically is, you know, running after Trump, making America great again?
Okay, so let me ask you a question then. So can you hold people's feet to the fire that have private ideologies that they may not necessarily share openly, and we support their products. So, for instance, I would go out on a limb and say that Ralph Lauren has probably used the N-word behind closed doors when he gets around his high and mighty white folk.
Oh man, I'm talking about Ralphie.
I'm just asking, right? So, or let's take it a step further. Can you support Nike that makes product in countries where people are being paid pennies? I mean, as you look in the back of me, obviously I'm a supporter. I probably should own stock, but but can you, in the same vein, can you support a company that may do things that are not necessarily in line with what I believe?
Yeah. Because there are a lot of things that we buy that actually support, that their products are made through prison labor. Right. And until like recently, when these articles started coming out about privatization of prisons, then we started noticing like a lot of these companies pulled out. But Walmart probably is still making money off of prison labor. AT&T was making money off of prison labor. Right. Apple pulled out. So, and even like somebody brought this to my attention today. They were like, man, the mercury that's in your iPhone, they got kids in Africa that's mining that stuff. And they're getting pennies for it, but you walking around with the latest phone and you don't even know your dollars is supporting that. So, man, it's one of those hard like things that we gotta wrestle with as human beings.
Well, let me go back to Wesley's point then. Is that a cop-out, right? By saying, well, you can separate the man from his ideology. If that's the case, I mean his ideology from the product that he makes. If that's the case, then can we still listen to R. Kelly?
Oh, I was just about to say that.
Yeah, see,
I was about to say that.
I mean, like, where do you draw the line?
Yeah. Nah, I love that McDonald brought that up because I was legit thinking the same thing. Like, can we really separate the artist from his art? And I think if we are going to do that, then we have to hold Kanye, I believe, to the same standard as R. Kelly, or to the same standard as we did Harvey Weinstein, or at the same standard that we did even Bill Cosby. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I think a problem with society is that we pick and choose who we want to cancel and who we don't want to cancel. Right.
Like, for instance, you're gonna watch reruns of the Cosby Show, right?
Exactly.
If it comes on, you're probably gonna nod your head if you hear R. Kelly song playing in the background. You may not openly play it in your own car, but you're gonna do it two-step, right? So my question is, to Jordan's point, can you? We're being hypocritical in the sense that we are picking the winners and picking the losers. So we'll still watch those movies that Harvey Weinstein financed or his company financed, but we won't listen to R. Kelly, or we'll watch some Cosby shows, but we'll, destroy Kanye because we don't believe in his stance. Right.
Yeah. Sometimes I guess, man, we gauge it by the act. Like for me, man, I think I was listening to a Jay-Z playlist, and the album, a song from Best of Both Worlds came on, and I wanted to listen to it, man. So I was like, I think it was, and then that other song, Fiesta,
Fiesta, yeah.
But I was like, man, it's R. Kelly, so I have to fast forward it because in my brain, I'm like, I don't like the act that he committed. Right. That he's been accused of. So it's almost like what you're all saying is like we can tolerate certain acts, certain individuals before we cancel them. So Kanye.
But the thing is with R. Kelly, I mean, I'm very emphatic about that situation because I mean, people are raped and assaulted, kidnapped, all that kind of stuff like that. What we're talking about so I think that's very simple for me. It's clear cut for me. Yeah. For someone like Kanye, it's more ideology that is dumb, it's uninformed, it's uneducated, it's ignorant. I think it has potential for danger, but it's not the same danger, obviously, that R. Kelly was putting women and whole families into. So that's why it's a little bit more of a when it comes to him. But with people like R. Kelly, Harvey Weinstein, I think Bill Cosby, I think those are clear cut because there's people who are in clear danger.
Yeah, because with Kanye, you almost have to say, as a human being, everybody's entitled to have their own political opinion. You know, like at the end of the day, it's his political opinion. It's America. He's free to choose whatever he wants to choose. I can't negate the fact that he's made some great albums, like and I would say from College Dropout to My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy have just been some amazing hip hop classics.
Well, this is the guy that said slavery was a choice.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know from y'all's opinion, like how you water that down, or
right,
because it has ramifications down the line, like, you know, it gives white people an out, or you know, not saying all white people are guilty of slavery. What I'm saying is it gives the transgressors an out, and I have an issue with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think someone touched on it a little bit earlier of like accountability, and I guess I'm trying to ask myself the question now: am I holding Kanye West accountable by not buying his shoes? Like, is me not purchasing $300 pair of shoes? Am I actually holding him accountable through doing that? Yeah. And I guess I'm wrestling with it, because part of me wants to say no, because Kanye West doesn't care if I buy his shoes or not. And I mean, like, he's a
narcissist. He does.
Exactly.
He does.
So I guess I'm trying to figure out, is us buying his shoes, are we actually holding him accountable? Like, is that like an act of accountability?
What would accountability look like to you? This is to everyone, not just you. I'm curious. What does accountability look like? In the case of Bill Cosby, what does accountability look like?
Right.
Boycotting his show, he's already paid. Right?
Yeah. He's already paid. Yeah.
Jail time, where he's at right now.
Yeah, I was about to say that's accountability. Yeah. And I think he needed to be there.
For sure.
Needs to be there. Yeah. This whole thing with buying his shoes, I think that I think somebody has to wrestle with the whole issue of, in buying his product, is it supporting his ideology by, okay, so this is what Jordan was saying. If I buy his product, is it saying I agree with you? And I don't think that's I agree with what you're saying politically. Look square. I don't think that's what it means. Now, there is the other issue, and that is, what do people think about you? That's if you care. What message does it send to other people that you're wearing his stuff? See, I might be able to deal with it in my head and separate the two. But for people who see his sneakers on my feet, they might think, okay, he wholesale supports, what Kanye's all about. The question could even go to, you're dealing with his shoes, but what about his album that he put out? Since we're talking music tonight, right? So what about Kanye's album that he put out? We don't agree with his political ideology, but if you're talking about Jesus and we're Christians, but then you've got this subversive, dangerous political ideology underneath that's problematic too. So do we listen to his album?
I'll be honest, man. I gave that album one listen and it went straight to, I don't buy CDs no more, but I couldn't listen to no more. And I'm glad you brought up the album, because it leads us to the other conversation where I just thought the content was weak. I thought the content was weak. I thought the production was lazy. And I was just like, it's a bad representation of gospel music and Christianity. Those are my thoughts.
So should Christian rap have a militant arm to it?
I think so. I mean, the Bible has a militant arm. You read the Old Testament and you read about God. God, anytime people oppressed Israel, God was like, go get them knives. You're gonna take the land, we're gonna take everything, and it's yours. Anytime people were coming. So there is a militant arm of the gospel, quite frankly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
and I think, yeah, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
No, I think that I really am excited about this part of the conversation, because this whole thing of Christian rap being, or rappers that are Christian, depending on how you argue it, that the content oftentimes, while it might be theological or biblically accurate and faithful, is just, a lot of it is not creative. A lot of it comparatively is as strong in terms of metaphor, simile, and all the things that make up the best of hip hop lyricism. It's just weak. And I'm wondering what you all, what we think about that, because, and I know some Christian rappers. Atlanta's full of them, and I like some of them as people and even as artists. But when you compare them to a lot of other folks who are other hip hop artists, oftentimes it just doesn't measure up.
Yeah, so what I'll say is this: I'm sure on this page right here, these wonderful gentlemen, your favorite rappers are probably not Christians, or
That's
not publicly professed Christians. Number two, your favorite rappers, or not even your favorite rappers, the albums that you enjoy the most are probably not Christians. They practice either some Islam or some sect of the Nation of Islam, 5%ers or something like that. The one that's given us content. When you compare the latest albums that have come out versus those artists who have professed to be Christians, you compare their albums, there's no holding them up together. There's no balance. They're just like been weak as far as content wise.
So how are we defining Christian rappers? Are we defining rappers who are legitimately like Christian rappers, like a Trip Lee or like a Lecrae, or are we saying Christian rappers in a sense of quote unquote secular rappers who profess to be Christians? For clarity.
I would say any rapper that professed to love Christ on their album. I mean, anything that's Christian leaning, I would say, more so than anything. Because even the rappers that are of the faith of Islam and all that, I don't think that they're necessarily, I guess, all the way out there professing their faith. But I think the content and the fact that they address issues that directly impact people like me, they're unashamed in the way or in the things that they will talk about on their songs. I don't see the same fervor from your average Christian rapper.
Okay.
I don't know. Go ahead.
No, so I got a question that came to us from the internet, and it's saying, what is more dangerous? A black person who verbally expresses their ideology, or the black person who tells you one thing on an album but does something opposite in real life?
That's every rapper.
Yeah.
Studio gangster.
Concise. Yeah, that's a good way to answer that. Yeah.
That's every rapper. I think that's dangerous. I do think it's dangerous. I don't think that I think because people are so impressionable. I want to say, I'm sure the generation before us probably said the same thing about us, but this generation is so impressionable. Like, they blow with the wind, and these rappers are talking about popping pills. Next thing you know, these kids are popping pills.
Right.
But they talk about it in the music, but then their kids are in the most privatest of private schools. They're in the best neighborhoods. Their neighbors don't look like them, and they're living like, and they're talking about, strip clubs and women and all this other stuff, but they got a wife at home.
Right.
And you out here trying to live the lifestyle that they're rapping about, but half the time they're not living the stuff that they're telling you and feeding you in the music. So it is dangerous to have whatever your ideology is in music, but then your life is completely different, because you got people that are going to follow it, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, Snoop D-O-double-G was married for a lot of his career. He was like exploiting women left
the whole time.
But we was buying our music. So so last time, Jordan, I think you were gonna say something. I know I kind of shifted to take that question.
It was about yeah. I think we were talking about if we were saying that rappers who are, they're pretty much, their belief is like Islamic. Usually they're kind of like unapologetic through their music.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to argue that I do think that rappers who profess to be Christian are unapologetic in their message as well. It's just a different message. So I think like Kanye West, Chance the Rapper, for example, I think Chance the Rapper was extremely unapologetic in his album, The Coloring Book. I mean, he was unapologetic to his message, which is Protestant Christianity, in a sense, like the surface level of it. And I think Kanye West in his last album, you know, Jesus is King. That was the name of it.
Right.
So yeah,
I think Jesus is King.
Yeah. I only listened to it once, so I don't know. But but no, I think like Kanye was still unapologetic, you know, in his messaging. I think like we're kind of arguing more so against. I think we're arguing the message, not so much if they're apologetic or not.
Yeah.
Well, not only the message, but also that's correct, but also the creativity level, the lyricism level. Because I agree with you, Jordan. They are, in fact, I would argue, Christian rappers, and Christian rappers like Trip Lee, Lecrae, Young Noah, shout out to him, others. They're unapologetic, even more so than Islam influenced rappers. I think that I actually think that's probably, and I have to say this carefully, but it's probably one of, I wouldn't say problems, but one of the challenges that Christian rappers have is they wear it so much on their sleeve that they're more focused on being faithful to theology that they don't balance it off with being faithful to creativity. Yeah. And I think that's why, and when we see Muslim or Islam influenced rappers, they don't have that on their shoulder. They'll have, Muslim or Islam references, but they're not trying to, they ain't trying to convert you, which is one of the main things Christian rappers are trying to do, which is why they sacrifice oftentimes creativity.
Yeah. And so like you guys are bringing up a great points here. So kind of like to keep in the same frame. So you have like these subgenres of Christian rappers, right? So you have your Chance the Rapper, your maybe Common we could throw in there, and Kanye West, right? And then you have like what you were describing, Joyner and Wesley, the hardcore Christian rappers, The Truth, Trip Lee, whose content is strong and unapologetically Christian. I'm looking at the mainstream Christian artists Chance Coloring Book is different from Chance. What's his second album called?
That's the point. You don't even know it.
Right.
Big Day.
Don't even know.
Big Day. Big Day. Yeah, Big Day.
And Kanye's album.
Yeah, Big Day, yeah.
These guys, their content was not as strong, and they're professing to be Christian, right? Because I would love to know what Trip Lee and Lecrae and those guys, what they think about Kanye and Chance the Rapper's album. But when you look at like a Jay Electronica's album, or if you look at a Talib Kweli album, or you look at a Mos Def album,
yes, sir.
We are gonna listen to those albums. Oh, those albums are gonna be in our heavy rotation because there's something about. There's something. Now, this is a question you had asked before, Wes. There's something about these rappers that we resonate with their messages more than we resonate with the messages or what's on the content of the albums of Chance and Kanye, that we'll keep those albums in heavy rotation. And Chance and Kanye's album, it's like out the back door. So like for me, when I'm wondering and what I'm thinking about is this a bigger picture in regards to the message of Christianity? Why is it that we as all of us are Christians? I believe all of us are. And those people call me a Muslim because they be like, what stuff I'm saying can't be Christian. But all of us profess to follow, God and Christianity. But there's something about us as African Americans that we gravitate to the songs on Mos Def, Talib Kweli, Jay Electronica. I mean, even a Jay-Z who doesn't profess to believe in God or whatever. Like, there's just something, there's something there that I was hoping we can uncover, like figure that out.
So I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and we were talking about this, and I was explaining it this way. I was saying, okay, when I was young coming up in Toronto, I would listen to Richard Smallwood, let's say Angels. I remember that song, Angels Watching Over Me, on that whole album with Total Praise. But then I would look at the Black experience, because not only here in America, but Black people everywhere, all over the country, even in Canada, are suffering disproportionately by being over-policed and undervalued, right? So I'd be listening to that, but gospel music never spoke to my situation as a Black person. Mm-hmm. So like the first time I ever conceived that Black people were in the Bible was not from a preacher. It was from KRS-One, Boogie Down Productions on the album Ghetto Music on the song Why Is That? When he was, and you remember that song, which is a classic, he was talking about the fact that Abraham had to be Black. He's quoting scripture. Yeah. He's actually giving you a Bible lesson, right? And I'm saying, why is it that I have to go to hip hop music to verify and to validate who I am as a Black person when Christian music is only telling me the message of salvation, which is actually only partial because it's not recognizing my full humanity. Mm-hmm. Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that even can go to the church when we sit down in church and we hear messages that are not really speaking to or addressing our full humanity. Jordaan, you I don't know, somebody wants to chime in.
Yeah. I was about to say that's interesting because literally I think it was a couple years ago I was struggling with gospel music. Like I kind of was sick of it because I kind of felt like gospel music for me got to a place where it was pacifying my issues or what I was going through and more so promoting the message of God is going to get you through. But when I listened to a Kendrick Lamar, he's identifying and really talking about the current issues that are in front of me. And really, he's calling me to it's like a social calling that he's inviting me to that I just don't get oftentimes when I typically listen to gospel music. I do believe that both have their place, but I do think that rap music, I think, has always been great. Well, not all rap music, but specific rappers has always been phenomenal at speaking to our social issues.
Which leads me to another question, right? When was the last time you heard a Christian rap song that you felt called to arm to do anything from a social standpoint? When was the last time you felt like you were super energized about whatever the content was in a Christian leaning rap song that made you feel like you were galvanized to get up and actually do something, or where it woke you up mentally to, like, I guess, address issues that impact people that look like us on a day-to-day basis? I can't tell you the last time I heard a song like that.
Yeah, I think for me, the last song that I heard, and to be honest, I haven't been like really as hard in the Christian rap scene as I used to be before. But the last song I heard was Lecrae's America. Welcome to America. Like, I really loved how and I think he made that song for the Selma movie. That movie that came out about Martin Luther King. Like that movie, that song had some rich content and had some had some social rhetoric to it. As far as other ones, I can't, off the top of my head, I can't refer to any right now.
Yeah, it's few and far between. Sho Baraka is a Christian rapper. He's here in Atlanta. Sho is definitely he's definitely woke. He's educated in terms of what's going on, and he's a phenomenal rapper, a pretty good lyricist as well. And he's actually caught the attention of people who don't really listen to Christian rap. I have some friends who are agnostic and others who don't really listen to Christian rap at all, but they listen to him. But see, the reason why Sho Baraka is like that is because he has done what most Christian rappers have yet to do, and that is to reject this Eurocentric, westernized, Americanized view of Christianity, which tells you, don't worry about your color, don't worry what we're doing to you, just focus on heaven.
Right.
And actually, when you watch, when Lecrae began to pivot and understand and truly embrace the fact that he's a Black man living in America, and all these white evangelicals who were flocking to his concerts didn't really care about issues that was addressing him, that's when he talks about in interviews, he began to see some of his support from white evangelicals push back because they don't want us to talk about what's going on down here. They just want us to focus on when we get over there.
Right. Yeah. That's a good point. You go ahead, Jay.
And that's exactly where like my mind was going. I think it speaks to Protestant theology in that like it's kind of more of on a surface level, more of a pacifist type of theology of that God is going back, but yet there's no sense of call to action. I mean, and if we even like look at like some of our rappers that are out now, most of them are connected to like quote unquote these famous Protestant preachers who are kind of like on the front lines on YouTube. And most of them, if you listen to them preach, they're not getting up on Sunday mornings talking about social justice at all.
Nope.
I mean, literally a Black person could die on Saturday and it could be all in the headlines, but when they reach their pulpits on Sunday, they're not speaking about it at all.
Right.
And most of our rappers, like even within Christian, quote unquote, Christian rappers like Trip Lee's and Lecrae, they're connected very heavily to those Protestant preachers. And even like, for example, Kanye West is extremely like, I know he's attached to Hillsong, you know, he has a connection there, and, you know, and we never hear Hillsong makes phenomenal music, but they're never speaking to the social plight of Black people in America. So,
Yeah. Cause you know, you go back to Jesus Walks and Kanye is like, I ain't here to argue about his facial features or turn atheists into believers. You know, and then like you go on Jay Electronica's album and there's a bar in there where Jay-Z is like, you know, born in ancient Egypt and they knocked off the nose and they gave us this fake Jesus.
Despite the face.
Yeah. You know, so you like, yo, that's that wokeness. And I think from the mainstream popular Christian artists and even some of the underground ones, that's the kind of messages that Black people need to hear. And so like, you know, you look at Kanye and, you know, I remember, I think I preached it at your church, Wes, when I was like, you know, calling us to the white Jesus or the right Jesus, you know, and you almost have to abandon this Eurocentric view of God, of the Bible, in order to understand your reality and who you are as a person. And I think that's part of the reason why we gravitate to these rappers who are, you know, practice Islam and who practice other stuff other than Christianity that attracts us because it speaks to us personally and our plight.
I think that probably would be a good segment to talk about the joint by Joyner Lucas. Because I think that's probably an exception to the rule. And I pray and I hope that he continues down that path, because after you had me listen to that song, Jamie, I probably listened to it on spin just to really dissect it. And then I pulled up the lyrics. And right before this call, I just read through them and I was just like, man, it's even more raw than it is on wax. Like,
right.
Yeah. So I think if you talking about the joint Devils Work, right? Devils Work. Yeah. So from the standpoint of like, if the issue is that they fear being alienated by those preachers that have these massive churches and big movements and so forth, it sounds as if, at least from the standpoint of Joyner Lucas, he's not beholden to anyone. And so he's going to say exactly what's on his mind. So is the issue that there are these machines that frown upon going there and talking about those social issues that causes these rappers not to speak openly about the things that they see? For instance, I have yet to hear a lot of these Christian rappers talk about the Sandra Bland's and the Trayvon Martins and all those people. I have yet to hear it, unless you guys heard of a song that I hadn't heard of, but I hadn't heard it. So is it that the fear that they won't have these, have access to these, mega churches and the backing of these pastors and these groups and the Hillsongs and all those folks that causes them not to touch on topics like that?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, obviously, if Kanye was preaching and teaching a woke message through Christianity, he would not be invited to Joel Osteen's church.
Right.
he would not be on Fox News. Like, you know, he won't be on certain platforms. And so it's that also that level of how much content do you want to put out there so that you can be, you know, either accepted or not accepted by the mainstream. So like you brought up Joyner Lucas, he's getting a whole lot of attention right now because of this song that he's made, Devils Work. And for me personally, I thought it was very creative. I thought it was very powerful. I felt like it was very honest, but I also noticed something too that he did at the end, which if somebody else had made that song who was not Christian, he turns the song and then he says, I know it's not you, God, it's the devil's work.
Yeah.
So he lifts the finger off of God and then he points it at the devil, which is something that, you know, like I used to always get mad when people will be like, when something goes wrong and people are like, the devil is a liar. It's the devil. No, the devil made me do it. No, you took your behind and you did it yourself. You know, stuff like that. But
I'm not mad that he did that, but I do think that the words still stick as far as what he said. I want to read something that he said. He said, he said, cherry picking who should go next and who should stay. I'd be on my way to heaven if I knew the way, and bring back every good nigga you chose to take. They say you never wrong, but you done made a few mistakes. Your average Christian rapper ain't saying that at all, because they would be alienated forever.
But you know what? For me though, and maybe somebody will, you know, come at me for this, but I actually, and I like the fact that you read the lyrics, McDonald, because it's like, if you read them, if you listen to the music, you might get caught up in the whole song, the whole just vibe of it. When you read those lyrics, man, it reads almost like a psalm. I could take some of those lyrics, minus some of the words, obviously, right? But I could take those lyrics and put it right beside some of David's psalms and some of the psalms that talk about, God, where were you? You know, when this happened, or how come you left me, or the, you know, I mean, to me, it's a real conversation with God. And it's one of those things where I think some of us actually need to get there, because at one point in the song, he says, I don't mean to be disrespectful. I don't mean no disrespect.
Right.
You know, but he's questioning in a way because he wants answers. And I think some of us are afraid to do that. And I think that's why he shows the anatomy of a fight with God. And then at the end, he says, oh, but I'm realizing it's not you. It's really the devil. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah. I respect his honesty, because if I'm being completely transparent, you know, when one of my best friends, you know, took his life, you know, that was a moment for me where I had questions for God, and I really didn't feel like he intervened when he should have. You know, I think people are and maybe this is part of the issue with Christianity as we know it, is that we're not honest. We will say the feel good, you know, God knows best, and all those catchphrases that we're used to saying, as opposed to really being honest. And I believe God actually wants us to be honest. I don't think he wants us to hide our emotions or to tuck them away for fear of being disgruntled or disobedient. I think he wants us to be honest. Yeah. And I think that this song is a true reflection of what I would be more drawn to if more Christian rappers were to speak this way.
Yeah. And Wesley brought up a good point. I strongly agree that if this song was written over 3,000 years ago in Jerusalem, it would probably be included in the scriptures, minus some of the words, because like you said, David got some prayers where he's talking about, God, I want you to smash their babies on rocks.
That's right. That's gangster, man. That's gangster.
And then like if you take the latter part of the book of Job and how Job is talking to God, Job, I'm sure Job had to use like some unfiltered language in order to express. And I agree with both of you that I think that's even like what God wants to hear from us, like our hearts, not these fabricated, Lord, I'm your humble servant, please help me, type of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
You were gonna jump in.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, and even getting to a place of humility and recognizing that you don't know everything, and that's one thing that I see here in Joyner Lucas's kind of track is that, like, he's extremely humble in the fact of, like, man, I'm living amongst confusion. I don't know what's going on. God, I need you to show it to me. You know what I mean? And I think, like, oftentimes, especially for us who've been in the church a long time, we kind of like feel like we always should know everything. You know what I mean? We should know everything that's going on. But I think Joyner Lucas is a prime example of, like, there's a lot of things in life we just don't know. You know what I mean? And we need to turn to God like Joyner Lucas did in the track.
Yeah. And real talk, man. Real talk. Like, we were listening to that track and we were like, yeah, for real. Give us back Biggie. You could take
give us back Biggie.
Give us Nipsey.
ASAP.
Yeah. Like, we prayed here. Like,
I actually threw some names in there, but I'm not gonna put the names out so they won't roast me.
Right. On the low. Like, but and Joyner Lucas, the other thing too is that Joyner Lucas, this is not the first time he has hit some buttons. You remember his other track that he came out with where it was the black kid?
I'm a racist.
Yeah, and the racist.
I'm a racist,
was, I mean, that had caught like a lot of
viral.
Yeah, that went viral too, because just how his brain operates and the way he creates and articulates music is very, very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, I appreciate rappers that can say, when I say resonate, that can say things that I thought but didn't know how to put it together or to really express what it is that I'm thinking and feeling. I am drawn to people that can put songs together that way. Like, if you say stuff that's just kind of, I call it Mickey Mouse, ABC 1, 2, 3 kind of lyrics. They do absolutely nothing for me. And it's not necessarily that it has to be complex. It just has to resonate in a way that, man, I would have never thought to say that. Yeah. That's more real to me than, you know.
I hate lazy rap. Like, if there's something that gets on my nerves, it's lazy rap. And that's why it's hard for me to get into these new artists, because I feel like my 9-year-old can make rap songs.
Oh my goodness, dude.
According to the standards right now. And
it's all about production now and beats.
And in the beats ain't even that dope either, man.
How much longer can we just depend fully on the trap music, on the trap beat? Like, how long? It's just crazy. And back to that, like your original thing about these Muslim influenced rappers or 5%ers. I mean, arguably, and this is a whole different conversation, but arguably, at least in my mind, the best rapper ever is Rakim. For me. Yeah. And when I was listening to Rakim, and still do, I'm like, when I was listening to him, I was like, I didn't even catch that young that he was Muslim. Like, I didn't know what he was dropping on me, right?
Right.
It was only till later. That I caught it. But the thing that I loved about Rakim is, even though he was unashamedly, 5%er, he wasn't preachy about it. He was just a raw lyricist.
Yeah.
And I think if people focus on the art, who you are will come through. But I think there's a whole argument in Christian hip hop that it should be used, and I get it, that it should be used to proselytize or to evangelize. And from a preacher standpoint, I get that. Everything we do should be to the glory of God. I get that. But is there a way to make your product so excellent that people want to then buy into who you are?
Right.
And then you can do that work on the other side.
Right. And which is why I was disappointed with Kanye's album in regards to, like, you are Kanye West. You put in amazing production in your first 4 albums. And then, like, I'm like, yo, there are people, gospel artists, that would be lined up to work with you. Even Christian rappers that would line up to work with you. And I felt like, man, you dropped that egg on us. And we all supposed to be like, yo, this joint was great. You know,
what do you think changed though? What do you think changed from dark, twisted fantasy? Like,
I think
before you answer, Wes, I can answer that question. I know exactly what happened. It's called Kardashian.
Oh Lord,
that's what happened.
That's not where I was going, but
that's what happened. Yo, as soon as he started dating her, it went south. All the albums after that was south. And look at everybody who has messed with one of them, their lives.
I knew you were going there. I knew you were going.
That's not what.
Where's Tristan Thompson?
That's not what we're here to talk about, right?
He's locked away with Chloe right now. He's locked away with Chloe right now. They're trying to work on it.
Oh man,
I'm playing.
Go ahead, Wesley. You had a point.
I'm sorry for messing it up. I'm sorry.
No, you messed up our whole. I think what he did though, besides the whole Kardashian curse thing, I think one of the issues is that, and I hate the message that it sends, right? Because it kind of sends the message that, okay, now that you're Christian, your production has to suck. Right. Like you don't have to think about it. It's just all about getting Jesus' name out there. It doesn't matter about how well the product is. And I think that's what I hate about it the most is that, okay, the minute he actually becomes, he's not just dabbling Christianity, but he's straight up, hey, I'm all for Jesus now. Now you're not putting in the work that you did. And we know that he could do it because the previous summer, the production on Pusha T's album was ridiculous.
I
mean, it was the old Kanye. We got him back for a minute.
Right.
So that's why when Jesus is King was coming out, I was like, oh, if he does what he did for Pusha T, we're good. And no, we weren't.
Someone in the comments said that the tipping point was the death of his mom, like something changed. Y'all agree with that?
So I think Kanye always grappled with mental issues. I think he's always been bipolar. Yeah. He's always been extreme. Yeah. But even after the death of his mother, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy came out, which was a masterpiece. It's not his best album for me. His best album was College Dropout.
He said masterpiece.
I don't know. I think we throw that word around too easily.
Yo, his production
no doubt.
It was all right. So maybe I'm using masterpiece loosely.
Okay.
It was a good production album.
It was.
It was different, and definitely.
It was almost trying to be like a thriller type album. It was that kind of with monster and ridiculousness and all of that. His mom died already. I think when he started shifting, you know what happened to Kanye, and J. Cole called him out. He started hanging out with yes men, and he started leaving the rock, and he started like drifting away, and he started leaving around from not being around people who would check him and be like, yo, that's not dope no more, around Dame Dash. And he
would you call Kanye a genius, or is he insane?
He's what do they call it? Insane genius. I don't know.
I was about to say insane genius. Yeah, insane genius. That's the way they say it.
He's an insane genius. So like his mom died, he still gave us My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Then Jesus came out, and then Life of Pablo came out, and then it's just been like a steady decline. And and J. Cole in that song False Prophet, he's like, yo, he started hanging out with people that just agreed with everything he said. And nobody was telling him, yo, that's not what's up.
And I think that's why his content is suffering now too. You know what I mean? Like, I think rappers gain content, or I think people in general, I think you gain content in your substance based upon like what you are around and what you take in.
He's isolated.
And so exactly. What are you doing in Wyoming? What are you pulling your information from? Like, even
from the ranch.
Like, what are you Wyoming?
Right. Like, even when everything was going on with when he made those different comments, people were saying, don't you care like what the Black community is thinking? And he was just like thrown off guard that people were actually upset, which spoke to the fact that like he's not in touch with society. He doesn't go home and watch the news.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
He doesn't read.
Right.
He doesn't
read either.
He doesn't read. He literally professes with pride that he doesn't read.
So it's two things, man. Talib Kweli had an interview, and Talib said Kanye does albums by committee. So he doesn't do an album by himself. He'll have a bunch of people in the room and he'll spit bars and people will include bars and all that stuff. Like Rhyme Fest wrote Jesus Walks and a lot of other songs. They said he does songs by committee. And so then he started changing his committee that he was around where he started to do it himself. And you can see there has been a decline in his lyrics, in his production and that stuff because he's not around the same people as well.
I can tell immediately when Rhyme Fest was no longer in the room.
Right.
Immediately.
Yeah. True.
Right.
True. Yeah. We miss him.
Ghost writers.
Yeah. Here's a good question. Let's talk about this, right? I'm gonna put this up here. Somebody posted this. Was his production on Nas' album good or nah?
I actually love that album. I thought it was probably one of Nas's best work in a long time.
Okay, I thought you were gonna say best
work.
No. Not like his best work in a long time.
Okay, not in comparison.
In comparison.
Say that.
No. In comparison to what was out at that time.
I gotta put it back up on my screen. That's
right. Put it on the screen. That's
go easy on me. No. So Nas is top 2, right? I'm talking about music that was out around that time, from the standpoint of content and plus production. I think that he knew he had to come with his A game or a better game than what he was putting out for a Nas album.
Yeah.
So I think it was a good album in terms of production for him. Now Nas, I think, could have brought a little bit more. Having been gone that long, I think he could have brought more. But I think it was pretty good. I just think out of those four albums that he dropped last year in terms of Kanye's production, Pusha T's album was number 1. Teyana Taylor's was actually, I think the production on hers was second. That was a dope best
album.
And
dope.
Kid See Ghost was okay too. The one he did with Kid Cudi.
Really?
It was okay. It was great.
Nah, man, I'm taking Nas over that one, bro.
Really?
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I'll take Nas.
Yeah. Kid Cudi.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not a Kid Cudi fan. I could listen to it every now and then. Rock with it.
I get depressed when I listen to his music.
Very limited palette. That's what's wrong with you guys.
We're not cultured enough. We're not cultured.
I know. Yeah, that's it. We're not cultured.
That's right. Come up a little. Wear button down shirts like this, and you'll be like me.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So and that's so, man. This brought me to another point. Like Nas is the socially conscious rapper, right? As he touts himself to be, and then you got post MAGA or current MAGA hat wearing Kanye producing his album. Right. And is there any contradiction there? Can Nas even be that conscious rapper and even call out? Does Nas have a right to even call out Kanye for his for his thoughts and ideologies when he's got his fingertips all over his album? And then another thing too, I wasn't feeling 7 songs. That's not an album. That's an EP. EP. That's a mixtape. Not even a mixtape. But
I don't mind 7 songs if it's tough. If it's clean, you can give me 7 songs. Kendrick can give me 7 songs and I'll be good.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's
I think the question you just asked, though, I think it goes back to Wesley's point earlier about separating the art from the artist and someone having the ability to have their own ideology, but yet can put out art that isn't necessarily representative of that ideology. I think Nas is a smart guy, right? Everyone is probably going to clamor for a Kanye produced album or a Kanye produced song. He's still Kanye. Let's not get it twisted. I think if he sobers up and get around the right people and have the right people in the room, I still think that he can do incredible work. I'm pretty sure that that's what Nas was banking on. And I wasn't completely disappointed, which means that if he really, really, really put in the work, I think he would have had a masterpiece.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he gave him some dope beats. He gave him some pretty dope beats. He gave all his beats to Pusha.
Oh yeah. I think he gave the dopest beats to Pusha.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. But Pusha T is president. Pusha T is president of good music. You got to give him the best beats.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm not even a Pusha fan.
What?
Just because.
Yo, Jamie, exit
I'm
out.
not a Pusha.
Go ahead. What?
No, I'm just.
Yo.
I mean, listen, he's nice. He's nice. He's nice. But
Yo.
I mean, the whole. You know, I haven't historically been a Pusha fan, but that
So
album
not
was
even Clips
serious.
Pusha.
Yo, so there's a
Oh, Clips Pusha definitely. Yes. Clips Pusha. I'm
like
saying
a lot
after
of-
Clips, post Clips.
There's a lot of
Post-Clips
people
album.
out there who don't like Pusha, who think Pusha is a studio gangster, like the stuff he raps about are not his stories. And they think the actual stories are Malice's stories, and that, you know, Pusha was just rapping other people's stories. I've heard that conversation before. But, you know, Pusha used to write a lot of Kanye's lyrics as well, too.
Oh, facts.
Yeah. But back to the whether or not he was telling his stories or his brothers or not. You were in close proximity, and even if you weren't the one that necessarily sold that pound or whatever, you're in close proximity, so you have a different vantage point than someone that has never been around that. You know what I'm saying? Which is why a lot of people may not necessarily be able to relate to that kind of rap.
Yeah. So this might be our conversation for the next episode. Is Drake an MC?
Do you want us to answer?
I want to hear what they got to say. I'm curious.
Is Drake an MC? Is Drake in there? Because, you know, man, he sells.
Can you be an MC and not write your own rhymes? Can you be a dope rapper and not write your own lyrics?
Man, y'all are on a whole different episode, man. Like, that's a whole other hour.
I just want to know. I want to know.
That's a whole other hour.
We can save it for part 2, man. We can leave the folks.
Because that's a whole other hour, man.
Yeah. Because I'm of the opinion, man, you can't be an MC and not write your own rhymes. But at the same time, we don't know who does and who doesn't.
That's what I was about to say. We don't know.
That's what I'm saying. So if you found out your favorite rapper had ghostwriters,
oh, I'll be hurt.
would you abandon him? Would you abandon Hove?
Oh yeah, I'd abandon Hove. Quick time. Because Hove said, "I'm not a biter. I'm a writer for myself and others." I say, "You're big first. I'm only bigging up my brother."
Right, but you can be that and still have a ghostwriter. Because listen, everyone has people in the studio with them when they're recording albums, and everybody contributes. So you can't say somebody doesn't help you out with a hook here and there or a line here and there.
Cool.
That's
cool.
different.
Help you out with a hook or something like. But you writing my whole song, like it's like, yo, if the world would shatter for me if I found out Wesley Knight had a ghostwriter for all.
Oh no.
And somebody came out on YouTube and was like, yo, I've been writing all his sermons for the last 15 years.
Yo, we would stop preaching. We'd be like, yo, why are we stopping preaching?
Yo, he got a midget in the back room handing him his lines like, yo, you gotta say this, you gotta say that.
I'm like, yo, who's that dude that he always gives his check to every time
he Y'all crazy.
But real talk, if I found out that Nas, who's my favorite rapper, had a ghostwriter, I would probably give up on hip hop. I'll be hurt. Man, I'll be hurt. Yeah, man. Man, I think my first introduction to hip hop was in a barbershop with my cousins because I wasn't allowed to listen to hip hop in my household.
Right.
And I remember my cousins playing Illmatic like on the television. And I just remember being so captivated. And since then, Nas has been my favorite. So if I heard that Nas had a ghostwriter, I'd be hurt. Yeah. I'd be super hurt.
Yeah, but for real, though, it's going to be a conversation we'll probably have to have in another episode because we could go down the list because, you know, Pharoah Monch is a ghostwriter for many rappers. Like he is.
And he is one of the nicest MCs.
Yeah.
Nicest, man.
Yeah. You know, I think what they say, Jay-Z wrote the Chronic or not the Chronic, Still Dre.
Did it make you like Dre less?
No, but
is it that there are certain rappers you just would not give a pass if you found out that they had ghostwriters? So
for me, I kind of accepted that because Dre's not a rapper. Dre will come out and be like, yo, I ain't right. You know, like Eminem did that for me. you know, Puffy didn't write rhymes. You know, Puffy's not a rapper.
Right.
Like
so pre Pusha T putting the whole thing out about Dre. I mean about Drake. Were you guys kind of brokenhearted when you found out about that, or did you always like not really be like feeling Drake?
I never believed Drake. I'm not a Drake fan. I don't really care. Like I don't believe you. You need more people.
Yo, he makes good music, man.
He makes good music, and I can't.
Drake fan.
Yeah, he makes that good bounce.
He makes
I don't
good
like
music.
Yo, if I want to sit in my car alone on my lunch break and cry, I put on some Drake. I want to get in touch with my soft side. I put on some Drake.
Old Drake was dope. I like old Drake.
First
this
Drake,
new stuff.
Sure,
Mixtape Drake.
Yeah.
But his last album was Scorpio. Was it?
I've never listened to a whole
Scorpion.
Drake.
I think it's Scorpion.
Scorpions. Yeah, dude. The first half was rap, and the second half was singing. I don't want you to sing, bro.
Yeah,
that's what I got R&B music for.
Yeah, I've never listened to a whole Drake album. So I wouldn't really know. So I wouldn't be devastated if somebody wrote his rhymes. I'll be like, oh, yeah, figures. Now, like, I think I agree with Jordan. If you told me somebody was writing Nas or Talib Kweli or
Rakim,
so you wouldn't be hurt if you found Lil Wayne had writers.
That's the thing too. It's like I'm not a fan of Wayne. Like I've never like, you know.
So,
I think Wayne.
Okay, so then it's based on who you love and who
it's
you
based
hold in
on
high
who.
regard.
It's based on who.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because Wayne had ghostwriters.
Yeah. But then they'll tell you. But then, you know, there's people in Wayne's camp will say he doesn't write. He just goes in and freestyles.
Yeah, well, then when Gilly the Kid was over there, he definitely wrote for him. So,
all right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, we've been hitting it hard for an hour. Man, I appreciate all of y'all. So, we could do a part 2 if y'all are open to it. But I know that you know, people have been hitting me up and they ready for the fashion episode. So they ready for us to talk about the dudes.
McDonald's gonna hurt us. McDonald's gonna hurt us, man.
Hey, I'm gonna be out here in my PJs.
You see the kicks in the background, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Man, it's in a Foot Locker's locker room right now.
Yo, man. Hey, so I figured I knew we were gonna talk about Yeezy and all that. So I had a few out here just to prove the point that I do think that you can. I think you can be woke and still have, you know, still like stuff that you like, right?
Man,
I mean, I do it.
You got some, you stock X South Beach down there, man. I mean, you doing it, man.
Nah, man. Just over years, never getting rid of anything, man. I'm glad my feet stopped growing for a long time, or else I'd have been in trouble.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'd love to do the fashion one to see what y'all talk about. Sit back and learn, man. This was good.
This guy said learn. This man.
Right. Right. We waiting for a Dr. Knight lookbook.
For real.
Lookbook.
A lookbook.
Jamie vanished on us. Where's Jamie?
Yeah, he said we were talking too long, so I'm out. We'll follow your lead, McDonald.
Sure. Well, look, man, we appreciate having y'all on, man. Great conversation and great insight as always. For sure, man. If we need to have a part 2, we can do that. But for sure, I think the next conversation is going to be the fashion joint. So I think that's up next. So I guess Dr. Knight, we'll see you then. And appreciate you joining, Jordan.
Man, appreciate you guys having me, man. This was super dope.
Hey, man, this was fun.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right, man. Until next time.
All right, y'all.
All right, man.
All right.
One. Yo.
Peace.
Hey, everybody. Sorry about what happened. We just experienced some real technical difficulties. But to the 6 people that hung out, thank you for hanging out while we were over. But this concludes our second episode of 2 Really Dope Dudes. I hope you appreciated it, and I hope you liked it. Please follow my page on Raise Your Voice. Follow McDonald Gene at I Stack the Boss on Instagram. My Instagram is at Much Is Given. Jordan Martin is at JAA_Martin. And Wesley Knight is at C Wesley Knight at Instagram. So we love you. We appreciate you. Keep the conversation going. Share it with other people. Be blessed until we meet again. And this is one of the Really Dope Dudes signing out. Deuces.